Okay, so it's June 12th, 2024, and I've been back in Illinois. I'm from the Chicagoland area. I've been back there for a while, back and forth actually, over family, some stuff we've been having going on in the family. And so I just got back a couple days ago. This is the first time I can get out and go through the hives. I came out here just as soon as I got back, and I kind of checked real quick the flow hives. So for those of you maybe who are new at beekeeping and aren't familiar with the flow hive, I did a video where we did some honey extraction from it. So if you had a chance to take a look at that, you would have already seen that already. But this right here is a flow hive. I've got this is an 8 frame. I've got a medium on the top, a deep on the bottom. Those are my brood boxes. And then the top would be the flow frames. And I know there's some people who, kind of hate on the flow hive, but honestly, I really like it. I think they're too expensive, but they're pretty slick. For those of you who don't know or aren't familiar with the flow hive, just you can YouTube flow hive and you'll see how they make these things. But a dad and a son invented this, and I think they crowdfunded. I think they got like somewhere crazy, like somewhere between $3 and $7 million. And what it is if you look in there, these are plastic frames. And so the bees, what they do, see if I can get out of the glare. The bees, what they do is they wax all that up. They fill them, and then they cap them. And I'm a little concerned this year. Now, we've had, from what I understand, I've been gone for a while, so I haven't been able to be on top of my bees during this flow, which is a real drag. But I came out here real quick, and by this time in June, those frames are all filled with honey. And as you can see, there isn't any. So the other, I have 2 flow hives. I run one for friends of mine, and that's that one right here. And this one, we'll open this one up too. This one is exactly the same way. So I don't know. I'm kind of, like, what is going on? This one I've got to take a look at, because if you can see, look at those hive beetles in there. Now what the bees do is they corral those hive beetles into a certain location and basically try to starve them out. But I may put the Guardian on the front. I don't know if you guys know what that is. They're a little pricey. If you're obviously a commercial guy, you're not going to use them. But for just a guy like me who's got 10, 15 hives or so, they're not bad. They're like $10 each. And what they are, I can show you real quick, because I brought them out. I think I'm going to put them on that other one there anyway. So let's go over here. If you haven't seen these, they actually work really well for the hive beetles. So this is what they are. They just go on the entrance. Actually, just like that. They go on the entrance. These ends screw in to the front of your box. And what happens is those holes, the hive beetles try to fly in to the entrance. Well, when they get to these holes, they actually go in the hole, they come out the hole, they go in the hole, and they can't figure it out. So it literally stops them from coming in, and it works. So I think I'm going to put one on the front of that one flow hive. But so that's the game plan here. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I don't know, but since both of them, which had a ton of bees, both of these hives had a ton of bees in them, And I'm noticing it doesn't look like as many bees as what I had before. So again, I've been gone. Did they swarm? I don't know. I don't think so. I was really on top of that. Let me show you something else I do. Speaking of swarms, if you can see out in that field, let me zoom in here. Look at what's in that tree right there. Now this is about 75 yards from my hives. And I really have it there. Now if I catch a swarm, that'd be great. But I have it there because what happens is, if I neglect my hives for a little bit too long during the spring and I don't get in them and they want to swarm, they'll go to that box first. Doesn't mean they'll go in it, but they definitely send their bees out to check it out. And when I see that, I know, uh-oh, I better go through my hives. And I've had it happen more than once. And sure enough, my hives wanted to swarm. So that's a good indication, kind of a good idea for those of you who, want to get a head start of stopping your bees from swarming. All right, well, I'm gonna pause this. I'm gonna get my smoker going, and then I'm gonna start getting into this hive right here. And I might do a couple hives, we'll see. Smoking hot here in Oklahoma today, so fortunately I'm under the shade. I have my boxes, so they're facing kind of southeast, facing this direction here, and so the sun comes up over those trees and gives them nice early sun in the morning, so they get busy, and then in the afternoon they get the shade. So it's much nicer working with these bees in the shade. Alrighty, well, let me see what's going on. I'm gonna pause this and I will be back. Okay, I'm back. Got the smoker going. I always like to put, they're really mellow today, but I always like to put just a little bit of smoke on them before I get at them. So there they are. Oops, my finger's in the way. Let's break this seal, and I'll put just a little bit of smoke in there. It's all of a sudden gotten windy. There we go. I just put a little in there. This hive was actually huge, and I don't know, it almost doesn't look like I have as many bees in here now. And I hope they didn't swarm on me, because this flow hive, even when I left, this flow hive was full of bees. Let's look down in there and see what we got. I mean, there are bees in there, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and pull a frame of this flow hive out, and I'll go to the middle. Let's see if they're getting anything at all going here. It feels pretty light. Oh man. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. No, I can feel it's light. By now these should be, yeah, look at them. Now they just got a little bit of nectar in there. Can you see that? Little shiny. I mean, down in there, I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of dark. I mean, there looked like there's plenty of bees. So I don't know. I was told that we had quite a bit of rain when I was gone. Maybe it's nothing more than... But yeah, I can see in there they haven't done anything. Like I said, by now, in a normal year, yeah, I can see they haven't done a thing inside this. Well, I'm not going to go any further. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and put these back together. I just really wanted to see, if there was any honey at all. Sometimes I've noticed with the flow hive, they tell you, you know, when you're looking inside here at the frames, if it's totally full, that means your hive's totally full. Well, not necessarily. I've had them where they filled out the frame. What do I do with that frame? Where they filled out this frame and they filled it out just like this. And so from the end, looking from the end, like looking from there, it looked like there was honey. And then you got to the middle of the thing and there was nothing. So I know the whole idea was not having to get into your hive with the flow hive. And I mean, putting it in backwards. I mean, that's possible. But I've found that I go ahead and I open it up just to make sure. All right. And it's not a big deal doing that. But, all right. Well, I probably could have just lifted this off. I could have told by just the weight of the thing. But I wanted you guys to be able to see kind of what it looked like too. So let me break this seal and get this off. I have to pause it again because I'm going to have to use two hands to do this. All right, I put that on the ground right there. I'm going to go ahead and take this queen excluder off. I mean, there's a lot of bees in there, and I can see this. I mean, this one may be full of honey. And maybe they just haven't gotten to the flow hive yet. But that's a medium. So typically, again, by now, oh yeah, typically again by now, they have filled this thing up. And you can see in there, I mean, look at that. That's all full. That's full of honey. That's full of honey. All right, I'm going to smoke them a little bit and get them down in there. I think I'm just going to take this. I think I'm going to take this one off and get down to the brood box and see what's happening down there. Oops, knocked the smoker over. All right. So I'm going to pull this box off and get down into that bottom one. Okay, so I'm back. So I went through the bottom, and the bottom is almost all food. Honey, pollen, bee bread. And so I didn't go through this one. This is the medium on top. To be quite honest with you, I thought I had the queen excluder underneath it. But so this is another brood box, and so this is full of brood. I don't know. It's in eggs and that. I haven't seen the queen yet. But it's funny because when I saw all that honey, if you look at that at the top, it's like that on each one of them. You know, I just assumed, that's why you don't assume that it was all honey. Well, it's not. I mean, it looks like this. They're actually more than even this. They're hatching out of there. That's why it's kind of spotty. Well, let me try and pull this one up here. So there's been about 3 or 4 frames full of brood. So, I mean, that's good. The queen's in there. They were too quiet. I don't know. I know we have a lot of different beekeepers at different stages of their beekeeping. But a hive, typically, if they're queenless, now this one's all honey. Can you see that? Oh, yeah, and they're capping it. So there was about 4 frames. Let's come to the other side and look at the other side. Okay, that's got brood on that side. I haven't seen the queen yet, but she's in there. Because I did see eggs. So the thing is that my smoker's smoking those bees on. Boy, that thing's going good. That should be a whole nother video. And the guys keeping bees can attest to the fact that sometimes keeping your smoker going is a real pain in the behind. All right, I'm going to put this one back together. So, I mean, there's plenty of bees in it. The queen is laying well. Alls I can say is that maybe the weather, like I said, when I was in Chicago, it showed here as like rain almost every day. Maybe it was just enough where they couldn't, get out and forage like they needed to. The fact that both this flow hive and then the flow hive over there doesn't have any honey up in it yet is probably an indication of the weather. Anyway, all right, I'm going to put this one back together. I think that's all I'm going to do today. This evening, by the by, for those of you who have been following me, that swarm that I got it 2 weeks ago. And remember, it had all the ants in it. Well, I went by there yesterday to rebait that because it's been a couple weeks. And sure enough, it's full of bees again. So I'm going to bring them tonight. Maybe I'll film that too. And I'm going to put them right in this 5-frame. I find, this is just my opinion, and you know what they say about opinions, but I find that when I hive the swarms in a 5-frame and let them build up, they build up quicker than if I automatically put them in a 10-frame. So let me come around here to the front. So this 10-frame right here, and I haven't been in it since I've been in it one time just to make sure that they were good. This is that hive from Betty's that had all the ants in it. I mean, and look at that. It right away I put them in this 10-frame. And so I was out of 5 frames. So 5-frame nuke. So I put it in this 10-frame. Now that one's doing good, but real quick too, a real quick note. I had mentioned in a couple other videos getting this hot hive from my buddy. This is that hive that was the hot hive. And honestly, they're not that bad at all. And so I want to thank Bill, my buddy Bill, and probably more of his wife, because his wife was the one that was kind of fed up with that hive. But they're doing really good. All right, well, I'm going to put this hive back together. I think that's all I'm going to do today. I might be back later as I get that other swarm, and I'm going to put it right in this 5-frame. This was, matter of fact, this was a split I did, and I wasn't here, so the queen, I put a queen cell in there, just one, and it hatched, and she never made it, so I put another frame with eggs, and they made just 2 queen cells out of it. They didn't do good, and so that one didn't make it. That's just the way it goes. But these other ones are doing good. This one here is doing really good. That was a split earlier in April. And actually, I'm getting myself confused. That one down there that I just showed you, that was a split. This is the one we put Betty's in. Yep, I kind of notate right on there on the top. Betty Swarm, 525. So here we are, 6/12, basically 2 weeks later, and I've got another swarm. And the interesting thing about that swarm trap that had all the ants in it, that's like the first one I ever built, and it is the nastiest. I mean, it has mold growing in it. The bottom of it's getting ready to rot out of it. And I catch more bees out of that one than I do any of the others. So, all right, well, let me get this hive back together. And I'll probably just call it a day and go get that swarm here. Probably leave around 7:30 or so. And we'll get that in that 5-frame over there. But at least this is good to know. I mean, I was worried that maybe they swarmed. I was worried maybe the queen was gone. When I got into this hive and it was really mellow, as you can tell. I mean, I may not have even needed to smoke them. But you can tell they're nice and mellow. And usually that's an indication that there's a queen in there. So, all right, real good. So I will sew this thing up and go get that swarm in a few hours. Thanks for watching. If you're watching, you like what you see. I don't usually do this because it kind of gets on my nerves when I watch everybody, they do it, but there's a reason they do it. But if you want to hit the like and the subscribe, hit the bell just tells you, hey, Dave's got another video. Take a look at it. But if you want to hit that for me, that would be great. Appreciate you guys. All right. Bye-bye.